So I know this movie's been out for over a year, but this is my first time watching it. Yeah, I'm going to be doing a review of Hellboy the Crooked Man. The movie, not the comic. I already did a review of the comic. Yeah, if you're wondering why this took so long, even though I'm a huge Hellboy fan, I was basically of the mindset of, I saw the trailers and I was like, I'll just wait for streaming. And when I got Hulu to watch Predator Killer of Killers, check out that review if you haven't already. That just came out today of this recording. I noticed that they had The Crooked Man on streaming on Hulu as well. So I was like, fuck it, I'll just watch it here. And I have to be honest, I kind of liked it. Yeah, this movie's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I actually did enjoy this movie. I think it was a very solid in the sense that it knew what it was. I like the attention to detail. I like how it really for 80-90% of the comic is adapted into this, like dialogue and everything is straight out of the for this movie, straight out of the comic. So Hellboy the Crooked Man was made. There are some flaws with it, and I'll get to them in a bit. But for the most part, if it's not Mike Mignola, it's not Guillermo del Toro's Hellboy. That's goated. But this was really solid. This is a solid. And I would pick this movie. I swear to God, I'm not even joking. I would pick this movie over whatever the hell the Dave Harbour Hellboy was. I would pick this movie every time, and it's not bad. I understand that it's on a low budget, and the trailers didn't do this movie justice. It really, I think the trailers really kind of hurt this movie in the long run. So it was kind of surprising to watch it and be like, huh. That actually turned out pretty well. I was sitting here ready to hate it. No joke, I was straight up ready to despise this movie, and I ended up liking it. It's kind of like my situation with The First Omen, where I was like, okay, this movie's gonna be bad, but I'm gonna go check it out. And then I go sit and watch it. I'm like, huh, wasn't that bad. Now, I don't think I would have liked it if I had to rent it or something, actually pay money for it. But seeing it on a streaming site, okay, yeah, it's definitely a streaming movie. So this movie, for those who don't know, this movie is basically a adaptation of the short story, Hellboy the Crooked Man, the same name. That comic was a very solid kind of Appalachian, folk horror kind of story, and this movie is actually written by Christopher Golden and Mike Mignola. So to have the guys who like Mike Mignola especially to write the script, it makes a lot of sense of why it was so readily adapted. I find that really fascinating. I also really like the attention to the detail of this book, like a movie. Excuse me. I like how there's this kind of feeling of barren wasteland to it, in the Appalachians in the 1950s, which is weird because the movie says it takes place in 1959, but in the comic, it's 1958. I really don't know why they just upped it 1 year, if only for one joke Hellboy says. That's really it, because I'm like, the year thing seems arbitrary. Did we just skip and just advance? I know it's a small thing, but did we just advance it 1 year just so Hellboy can make a joke about wanting to be in the 60s? I guess. Speaking of the cast, let's talk about them. Now, for the most part, this comic follows a lot of the original cast, but we do have an additional character, Bobby Joe. But let's talk about the actor who played Hellboy first. Yeah, I can't remember his name. He's an Irish actor. He played his biggest role before this was playing Black Tom in Deadpool 2. It was a minor role. I have to say, he's a pretty decent Hellboy. Is he the best Hellboy? I think he's best for what we have here. And I know people are saying his acting was kind of dry here. I forgive it because at his core, the character of Hellboy is just kind of looking at something and going, huh, that's fucked up. So I think he really captured it, of this whole thing of Hellboy looking at, looking at something weird and going, okay, I've seen, because that's the whole thing of Hellboy, is that he sees supernatural things all the time and is of the mindset of, all right, just another day at the office. Okay. The other character, Bobby Joe, she's fine. I feel like she wasn't necessary though. She wasn't like, she's not in the comic either. She's in the movie directly, and I was kind of like, we didn't need her, and it just kind of, her whole storyline just kind of makes the movie feel longer. Even though, yes, this is a 90-minute movie, I feel like if you cut out her storyline at the end of the movie, I feel like you could have had a shorter, more concise film. She's not a bad actress, and the character's not awful or annoying. It's just like she feels unnecessary. That's really what it is that the character of Bobby Joe really doesn't feel like she needs to be here. She's not bad, and it's pretty decent, but I feel like you could have done this story verbatim, and you still wouldn't have needed this character. Also, I do like the actors they got for, like, Tom Farrell and Elfie Kolb and Cora Fisher. All of those characters, the supporting, even the Reverend, all of them are really good. And again, all the dialogue is straight up from the comic. So there's also a great moment where they, like, out of nowhere just have this old woman telling you how to make a witch ball. And that's straight up from the comic. Like, it's just a moment where, like, y'all want to know how to make a witch ball, this and that. So I was like, man, we really turned into Porky Pig there. We really paid attention to detail on this, didn't we? I think a lot of it is I think there's some genuine kind of creepy moments too. There's actually like one or two scenes where I was like, oh, that's a little fucked. Also, I feel like how they got there is a little weird and also kind of unnecessary, and it also doesn't really mean much by the end of the film. Anyway, let's talk about some negatives. The special effects of this movie are not great. This movie knew its budget, I will say that, but there's a giant Sydney funnel web spider in here who's magic. There's a magic spider in here, and and it's just here so Hellboy can fight a giant spider, but oof, it looks bad. There's also another scene where Cora Fisher's in her raccoon form, and it doesn't look good. Thankfully, though, they don't use these CGI scenes all the time. Like, this movie knew it was working on a low budget, and that's why I think using the Crooked Man story was a smart idea, because it's not like some big world-ending threat. It's not some, something where you need a high budget or high prosthetics or things like that. This movie took the best story in this, one of the, like, something you wouldn't need a high budget for, something you wouldn't need, a ton of, like, a huge cast for. It's just a kind of standalone horror story. And I think we could I kind of think maybe Catch Up Entertainment could do another one of these. I know they took ownership. They took ownership for Coyote versus Acme, and they also did The Day the Earth Blew Up. But yeah, I think this movie also, when it shows how bad the effects are, they're pretty bad. But I will say the Hellboy makeup's pretty decent. The acting's fine for the movie we have, and that's what I think people need to understand with this movie, is that this movie was not going to be like an overblown mega budget like the 2019 movie, or even the Del Toro movies. Those movies were all like from big budgets. Catch Up Entertainment was just kind of like, let's just do something small. And I feel like they kind of nailed it. Give or take a few bad effects, they knew where to put the budget. The makeup for the Crooked Man, who's downright terrifying, like downright creepy in this movie. Thank God for that, because if you ruin the titular antagonist of this movie, I feel like it would have been, kind of would have hurt the film. But thankfully, the Crooked Man is pretty terrifying. I also really like. Again, this movie's pretty atmospheric too. It really does capture that kind of Appalachian backwoods kind of terror. So I like that. There is some shaky cam, and again, I feel like the movie could have been cut down like a good 10-15 minutes to, because I feel like Bobby Joe's side story is just kind of like did we really need this? Because it's just here to it's just here to off the Reverend. I don't think I'm spoiling anything. This movie's been out for over a year. That felt unnecessary of killing off the Reverend, who was kind of a titular character in the story. Anyway, yeah, I'm surprised. Was it perfect? No. Was it? But I would actually watch this over the 2019 Hellboy by a long shot. I think it has great atmosphere. The characters are decent. It does go along a little longer than intended, but it's a solid adaptation of the comic. And I feel like in a world where we have comic book movies, I really do feel like it's nice to have like they never really do like verbatim adaptations or take a lot of the sources from the comic, or actually respect the creators. And this movie checks all those boxes, so that's kind of cool. Anyway, so shockingly, if you haven't watched Hellboy the Crooked Man, I say go check it out. I know I shit on it in the trailers, but you know what? After watching it, I'm like, damn, I waited over a year to watch this because I wasn't in a rush, and now I'm actually happy that I did. But anyway, if you have seen Hellboy the Crooked Man, let me know in the comments below what you guys thought of it. Comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.